just a reminder, if you check below this video, there's all the information about this video. Also, please check out my playlist, guys. I've got loads of videos where I live, on Campersel, in the area, Murcia. There's loads. Also, if you want to fund me, that would be fantastic. There'll be a link below. Also, don't forget to check out the Lobster deal. I've got a good deal with Lobster, and not forgetting Currencies Direct. As I always say, guys, you've got to keep watching, or else you're going to miss something. One of the questions that get asked a lot about here living in Spain is, what's the monthly costs? And to be quite honest, guys, it's pretty hard. But if you check here and here, I've done I've done a few videos over the years since I moved to Spain to give you some idea what the costs are. But don't forget, guys, it's all going to depend on where you live in Spain. Each region or province is slightly different. Obviously, type of property, for instance, if you're renting. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give you about where I live, also the circumstances, because I own a property. So it gives you some idea, because it's very hard, especially if you're a young couple. So I can't really say if you've got kids, education, things like that. But it gives you, hopefully, it gives you a rough idea on costs. So, my name's Sean. I've been living in Spain now for over 6 years. I live in the southeast of Spain, the Costa, Calida, the Murcia region. Now, I own a property. Just to remind you also, I'm on my state pension now. So I'm sort of mid-60s, maybe rising up a bit more. And the wife, we're both on state pension, so we haven't got to worry about the health thing now. But if we wanted to, we could still have private health. We don't. We're quite happy with the Spanish health system. So that is one big cost that we saved on, because when we first arrived here in Spain, we was paying over €200, €200, I should say, a month. And that used to raise each year by probably about €20. And that €220 a month was for both of us, but we haven't got that cost anymore. So it's like swings and roundabouts. Another thing that we used to pay for here in Spain was a funeral cover. We finished paying that now, but we used to pay just over €50 a month for the both of us. So when one of us dies, because here in Spain, obviously, as soon as you die, they want you to get cremated or buried straight away. So that's something to not worry about, obviously. So we got, one of us is already covered, and we're probably going to take out another policy. But at the moment, we're not. We're quite happy with just the one policy at the moment. So we own our own property. So we got a 2-bed, 2-bathroom villa, big plot of land. We've got a swimming pool. We've got our own car. So these are all costs. And also, I think you've got to remember, guys, it's about your lifestyle. We do go out eating. If you watch my vids, I go out exploring a lot. So obviously traveling in the car. So it is about lifestyle. I mean, what I'm going to tell you next about the costs, it's all going to be about going out, enjoying yourself, really. I mean, you could live a lot cheaper, but then I don't really see the point of moving to another country if you're just going to be holed up in a small place and not go anywhere, and probably worry about the heating, worry about the food. Because wherever we go in the world, guys, the cost of living always goes up. It hardly goes down, but it is a little bit cheaper here in Spain. But I will tell you straight away, when we first arrived here in Spain, and I'm still doing it at the moment, we still bring over £1,000 sterling. Obviously, exchange rate is a big help sometimes. Sometimes we get probably about an extra €200 extra. But we worked it out, on average, there's about €150 we get for that 1,000 each month. And to be honest, we still can cope on that. Obviously, it's the extras that where we have to bring a little bit more money over sometimes, especially like insurances and things like that. But what we are doing now, we're bringing over £1,000 sterling for the the bills really and the living for the month, and we're bringing over another £1,000 sterling because we've got a lot of building work going on, and we're bringing it over. And when we got enough money, we're doing some bedrooms out. We're doing a lot of work outside. It all costs money, so we're bringing over £2,000 sterling and probably get about 2,400 maybe euros for that. Now our money goes from our UK bank account still. We don't pay it straight into the Spanish bank. That's my preference. What you do, your money is up to you. I know I was talking to somebody the other day. There's like an online thing. I think it's called TransferWise or something like that, where you can have an online account. Apparently it's free. I don't know much about that. I quite like using the cash machine. Obviously, I'm with Casa here in Spain. We do pay a quarterly charge. I'll go into a bit more about that. So anyway, let's get on with the costs. So I'm going to stick with the £1,000 sterling for the monthly costs. So weekly costs. Now, obviously, where we are, I'm very close to the shop. We've got a local supermarket. It's pretty good on price. Obviously, we could go down to the Spanish Mercadona or Consum, and you can get some brilliant bargains. You can shop about, obviously, the markets with fruit and veg. So we worked it out. On average, we probably spend about €100 a week on getting bread and dog snacks and things like that. So obviously another thing that we spend probably weekly is on the car fuel. I put in usually €30 a week on average. Sometimes I don't use that, but I think average €30 a week on the fuel. Eating out, we do eat out quite a bit. Eating out can be pretty reasonable. I'm not going to say it's that cheap, but it is a lot cheaper. We would never go out eating out really in the UK, probably once a month, but we go out 2 or 3 times a week. You know me, if you know me, I'm a McDonald's fan, but I don't always go to McDonald's. I do go to restaurants and that. We've got a lot of Chinese restaurants here. Yes, we got a lot of Spanish restaurants, tapas. Now, I'm not a great lover of that, but we do go out eating quite a bit. So we worked out it's about €50 a week. So adding all that up, it comes to about $720. Now, obviously, then we got the monthly costs when we're talking about electricity. Now, at the moment, I have my last electricity bill in. I'm not going to show you me all details. And I was pretty shocked really because last October the government had stipulated that electricity companies were supposed to change the timings on it. They're going to have like off-peak, cheap, super off-peak, and things like that. So we stuck to that. Anyway, our December bill come in, well not our January bill come in, and it was a bit like our summer bill. It was $98.23. So I've gone down to we're with Iberella. It's the main electricity company here in Spain. Went down to, thankfully got a shop in Mazarron now, went to the shop there, bit of a translation problem. Now she's put me on a very economical, I think she said, daily rate. Didn't get a lot of information from that other than I signed a piece of paper. So I will let you know in the next couple of months to see has our electricity gone down, because wherever we are in the world, guys, I know the cost of electricity and gas has gone up. So we'll just have to see on that. So that was a bit of a rise, but not too much of a shock really. Now, obviously, water is not done monthly; it's done every 2 months. And on average, on the water, I didn't put it down, did I? I think it worked it out. On average, is about between 50 and 80, depending on what time of year. Obviously, the 80 a month would have been more to do with the summertime. Obviously, the wife's watering the plants. Even though I keep telling her she doesn't need to water the plants, but she does. Topping up the pool nearly every day sometimes, especially in the August time. So yeah, but we don't do that we do that every 2 months. But on average, like I said, it's between 50 and 80. Internet, now we just got normal Wi-Fi, and it's about €25 a month. We got something extra on that. I think it's called Catch Up TV from the UK, and also we have got a satellite, and then we got Free Stat, which is free. So if the internet did go down, and it happens every now and again, not a lot, but it does go down, but that's free. So and also I put down the funeral charges, which we don't really pay now. But what we do now, obviously because we don't pay the funeral, we've got our own pool cleaner. The wife's decided that she's not going to clean the pool anymore. And I get a lot of people about the pool cleaning video. Well, I'm working on it, guys. But we pay a pool cleaner guy €50 a month to clean the pool. Comes in once a week, and obviously during the summer, probably 2 or 3 times a week. I think I worked all that out. I've obviously forgot the. I forgot to add the water, but it's about €900. Obviously, another thing I forgot to mention was the mobile phone. Now, as you know, I'm with Lobster. I've got a good deal with Lobster. Anyway, they give it to me free, and my wife uses her UK phone still, so that comes out of a UK account. So in a sense, that's free as well. And to be honest, I don't know many people that still got a telephone, but I know there are obviously some people. We just use our mobiles and our tablets. So hopefully I've covered the monthly costs. Now, obviously there's going to be extras, which I'll mention in a minute. Now, if I miss anything out, guys, because I'm bound to, because I've written it all down here, and I'm bound to be something I've probably missed out. I can't think what. I thought I've covered everything. But if there's anything, and another thing as well, guys, obviously, if you can live a lot cheaper, or you got any suggestions, please add it below in the comments, because it helps so many people out. Well, extras. So we don't pay this monthly. One of the first things I put down was bank charges. Now that's every quarter. It's about €35. I'm with Casa. I mean, we could get away around it. Apparently, the manager said if we paid our state pension straight into our Spanish account, we would get free banking. But I still don't like that idea. So we, like I said before, it goes from our UK account into money exchange, and then we pay it that way. But you could do that. So that would be a saving if you wanted to do a saving. And I no doubt there's not many other banks here in Spain now left. No doubt some of them do free banking, so put it below if you got free banking, because obviously it all adds up. Insurances, now we obviously got house and car insurances, and I worked it out. The house is about 250. It's pretty average to what you get back in the UK, and the car's about 330. And obviously we pay that in one. We don't do it monthly. We just pay it off in one big sum. And usually, because obviously when we come to Spain, we had to do that all at the same time. So that's a bit of a fair whack out of our monthly income. So this is why, because obviously we got a little bit left over, and we pass what's left over into the next month. And we obviously do have a bit of money put by in our UK account to pay any extras. Now, heating, now we got oil. And that will depend on whereabouts you live. Now, if you obviously live in an area that's got piped-in gas, fantastic. I still think gas is a cheaper way of running your food. I mean, we got now pellet burners, or that's pretty reasonable and good heat. So, I mean, that swings and roundabouts on that. Now, we obviously got oil. And the last time we had the thing topped up, the price of oil was obviously going up now. And the last time I heard, it was 98 cents a litre, which, you know, is a big jump. I think a couple of years back we was paying 56 a litre. But on average, we top it up to about 300, 400 euros, and we probably do that twice a year. So we're probably talking about 800 euros maybe for the year. That would take us through the year. Obviously, during the winter months, we get through 50 litres a week in oil. Some people could probably get it done, you know, less than that, but that's what we do, and it's been like that ever since we've been here. Car tax. Now, the car tax, thankfully, doesn't go up. not at the moment anyway, and it was on average about 58. Now, obviously ITV, which is like MOT, because our car was pretty new, our next ITV, and then after that it will be every year, that's about 58 euros plus anything that needs to be sorted. IVA, which is the council tax, that doesn't go up as well. We've always paid the same. It's just under 500 euros a year, not a month, a year. We haven't got where we live on Campersol, we've got no community charge. Now, there are some properties on Campersol, Monsoras, they're from a private developer, and those guys do pay a monthly, I believe, community charge. I don't know what it is, guys, but there are a lot of places, most places in Spain do pay a community charge. So if you are buying a property, one of the things that won't get mentioned straight away, they probably say there's a communal pool, and they'll probably say, oh yeah, there is a community charge, and they probably won't mention it. So always make sure that you ask them what the monthly community charge is, and also how it's run, because just be careful on that. Right, tax. Now, at the moment, since we've been residents in Spain, we've never paid any tax at all. Now this year it could be slightly different because we're both paying our state pensions in. I think because we got no savings back in the UK, we got nothing, like we haven't got no other house in the UK as an extra income, and I believe it's up to 50,000 each, but we don't pay no tax at the moment. But that could change. Our tax is due sort of April, May time. But we obviously have an accountant, because I'll be honest, guys, I don't understand the Spanish tax system. I believe you can do it yourselves online, but we pay 110 a year to an accountancy, because you do need to make sure you understand the tax system, because they will whack you if you think, oh well, I won't declare that, because they always catch up with you. Now that's residence tax. Obviously, if you're only living here sort of part-time, or if you first come over, you might pay non-resident tax. Now that will be on the price of your property, and that's not as bad as you think it is. I think when we was paying non-resident tax, it was something like 60 euros each. Obviously, then you got your accountancy fee, or you can do it yourself. Another one you got to think about is hospitals and doctors. Now, if you can speak Spanish, fantastic. But when you go to the hospital, they do make it quite clear, obviously, because you'll be talking to a specialist. They do say if you can't speak very good Spanish, you need a translator. Now, when we go to hospital, we use a translator, and that can differ from 30 to 40 euros each time you go with a translator, because obviously you could be there an hour or so. If you go to the doctors, I haven't had too much problem. They do speak, some of them speak a little bit of English, others don't. But you can use your phone, you can speak into your phone. That seems to work. But when you go to the hospital, you have to use a translator if you can't speak Spanish very well. So that is an extra cost. Obviously, another one is car maintenance, whatever that's going to be. I mean, I think last year my car needed a big maintenance thing. I think I paid about 600 euros. I'm not very car-minded, but something went wrong with the car. The warning light come up, and it had to be obviously resolved. So that you do need to have some money put by for those sort of sudden shocks in your life. I think I've covered it all. And like I said, because we pay £1,000 sterling each month into our Spanish account, obviously with the exchange rate, it's probably 1,150 on average. I always class a euro to the pound, so if 1 for 1. It's always a bit of a bonus when the exchange rate is good, but there was a period when the pound really went down low. I think, to be honest, guys, if you was coming to live in Spain and you got no savings at all, and you've got no way of making any extra money, living on your state pensions, you're going to find it hard living there. I mean, yeah, you could live in a small place in the middle of nowhere, off-grid maybe. Now, obviously, the bank are pretty helpful here. You can virtually buy anything from the bank. And when I mean anything, you could buy a car, you could buy computer stuff. Now, I went in there and nearly ended up buying solar panels. Now, he convinced me if I got my roof covered with solar panels, I'll be pretty self-sufficient. Obviously, the money to pay for it was a lot of money, but we could pay monthly installments. But because I'm quite old now, the difference in the money that I'll be paying them for the solar panels and obviously all the other things that comes with it, I wouldn't have made much save. If anything, I'll probably be still out of pocket because of obviously electricity. But I think if you're a younger person, probably in your 40s, probably a good idea. Something I've always debated about, solar panels here in Spain. I don't understand, especially where we live, hardly see any solar panels on property. Loads of solar farms, but not on property here. And I still put it down to it's a huge expense, and to be honest, they need to bring the price down. Anyway, hopefully that's given you some idea on costs. So yeah, £1,000 a month. We said obviously now we're putting over 2,000 because the other 1,000 is going to be used for mainly building work. But obviously the wife likes going out. I mean, the wife's going travelling this year. She's going to Germany and Canada. But that's coming out of her UK money. We got private pensions as well, which is obviously a big help for us. We don't work, obviously. So that tides us over. So we're living a sort of a lifestyle. I didn't want to move to Spain to obviously try and survive, I suppose. I don't want to worry about not putting the heating on, things like that. In the summer, putting the aircon on, want to keep nice and cool. It's about your lifestyle. But obviously some people are probably trying to make a big saving, because there is a little bit of difference, but I wouldn't say moving to Spain, you will have a better lifestyle, but it's not, you still need some money behind you, if that makes sense. Anyway, next month, what we're going to talk about next month. Now, I think next month I'll be going back on the properties. I think what's pretty noticeable is when people come out to buy a property, don't forget, buying property here in Spain is completely different to buying property in the UK. If you put a deposit down, you can probably back out of it. Or I think another thing it goes on is in the UK is consumption. Here in Spain, once you put that deposit down, you virtually agreed to that sale. And if later on, for some reason, you're not happy, you're probably going to lose that money. And now you could be talking 7,000 upwards. So, and obviously we're going to be chatting about that. Don't be pressurised, guys. Anyway, that's for next month. Hope you enjoyed this. As I always said, guys, if you got any comments as well about living cheaper, or even other parts of Spain, I don't know. I mean, maybe down south. I think myself personally it's a little bit more expensive, but it might not be. Maybe up the north of Spain, it's a lot more cheaper. It'd be interesting to know. I've met a few people. We always chat about obviously expenses, especially when we're going out eating meals and things like that. So, as I always say, keep watching, because if you don't, you might miss something. And yeah, catch you next time, guys.